Top 5 upcoming FNAF fan games for 2025. Let's get into it. The FNAF movie game, made by Real-Time Studio, aims to deliver a classic FNAF experience while staying faithful to the visuals and story of the FNAF movie universe. Besides the stunning, almost photorealistic visuals, this game seems to blend classic FNAF gameplay with the classic camera system and free roam elements like walking around the office, messing with the circuit breaker, and maybe slamming your doors. It also seems to have some ties to the FNAF in Real-Time universe, so if you're a fan, this is definitely one to keep your eye on. FNAF Blood and Gears is a full reimagining of FNAF from the visuals to the story, and also seems to take inspiration from real franchises like Chuck E. Cheese. The lore and story is extensive in the best ways, with a dedicated website and a full archive full of lore that feels like an alternate history to the story we grew to love, with some changes that I'm sure will make me like this maybe more than the original. As for the gameplay, Blood and Gears seems to go with a more classic FNAF approach. Cameras, doors, lights, with a bit more freedom in the player camera movement. All of that with what might be my favorite art styles for a FNAF game. Realistic but lovable in a sleep paralysis demon kind of way. Welcome to Freddy's is an older game I've shown off previously, but wanted to remind you that it exists. If you haven't seen it, this fan game is more of a reboot game. A new take on the classic FNAF with a nice art style that's reminiscent of the original, but more stylized and artistic. There have been a few updates that look promising since I've last checked it out, but you can expect more animatronics than the original FNAF, but with that classic FNAF gameplay with some very cool post-night minigames. And overall, it doesn't seem to be trying to reinvent the wheel, just a solid fan game that I'm really excited for. FNAF Rewritten 87 is the sequel to FNAF Rewritten, which I loved playing, although I wasn't able to beat it at the time. But that's fine, I've always liked FNAF 2 more anyway. Visually, it looks stunning, and although seemingly emphasizing the new 3D visuals, it doesn't lack any atmosphere, which I feel happens to some games. The animatronics have a nice redesign that fits them in with a proper theme, and I love a good themed entertainment franchise. Now, the rewritten part of Rewritten 87 is what I'm really interested in, as the first game tied the lore into the actual gameplay very well. Although I didn't finish that first game, I really like the gameplay as a nice enhancement to the original, and this game seems to follow suit. You've got cameras, lights, a mask, the puppet, and some potential free roam sections. And of course, my favorite part of the old FNAF games, the 8-bit mini-games. And last on the list, but definitely not the last in visuals, Lucid Nightmare, Prayer of the Fallen, looks absolutely insane. These are some of the craziest and most overly realistic graphics I've seen in a FNAF fan game. It seems to lean more into the paranormal side of FNAF with the symbols on the walls and the more horror-heavy visuals that honestly make me a little uncomfortable, which is great if that's the kind of horror you're into. There are a plethora of updates to go through on the Game Jolt page showing off various things like the gameplay, which I assume will be similar to the original FNAF gameplay, but I could see them going with a more junior style of gameplay if they're leaning into the more paranormal side of things. As for the story, I'm not sure how different it's going to be from the original, but you'll be playing as a teen looking for your dad, which leads you to your uncle's restaurant. And if you want to see these games more in depth, make sure to check out the full video on my channel and linked in the description, and let me know which fan game are you most excited for.